Good morning and welcome to this edition of San Diego People. I'm Sandra Moss. Our topic today, cell phones and social media, how it's affecting our children. A study by the Pew Research Center shows that nearly 3/4 of teenagers have access to a smartphone and 92% of teens go online daily. With cell phones becoming an addiction for teens, what effect is it having on our younger generation? Here to talk more about addiction is Jean McAlister. She is CEO of the McAlister Institute, and it's great to see you again.
It's great to see you as well.
You know, normally when we talk about addiction with you, we're talking about drugs and alcohol or gambling. There are so many things to be addicted to. Well, the latest thing or the newest problem that we're seeing, people addicted to their cell phones, which can lead to a host of problems. And it starts very early, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I've been in a store and seen a child in a stroller with an iPad, and instead of interacting, they're all wrapped up in this iPad and soon-to-be cell phone.
A recent report on 60 Minutes showed the physical addiction that comes with the stimulation in the brain that we're all addicted to. I mean, we all have our phones within reach, and any downtime, whether it's in the supermarket, in a bank line, in school, you're looking at your phone, seeing what your friends are doing, seeing your emails, your latest texts, Instagram, all the different things that are online. It's like a Disneyland for the brain.
Oh, and it is, and it's like in our own lunchroom, you know, we'll used to sit and talk and have lunch together. Now it's 4 people's on their cell phone, and there's no social interaction, and that happens a lot with the adolescents. They're more into their phones than to having any social interaction with their peers, because they get to watch things on their phone. They get to have, they're sneaky at teenagers, and they want this privacy, and they can on a cell phone or on social media.
As we mentioned at the top of the program, that the attraction to this social media starts really early, and you go into schools very often and talk to the young people, or they come to you, and you did an informal survey asking some very small people what they know about some of the more nefarious things that people learn from their cell phone.
And they learn it from social media.
Right.
And as I was talking with you, I went to speak to a class, and the children were about this high. I think it was 1st or 2nd grade, and I didn't know what to say to them. So I said, "What do you know about drugs?" And their little hands went up, and they knew a lot. And so people often ask, when should you start talking to your child about drugs? And I think that you need to start very early. The minute they go to school, you need to, because they're going to learn about it on the school grounds.
And on their cell phones.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about some of the problems, some of the things that young people do with their cell phones that you wouldn't think about. It's not just kind of voyeurism and looking at things and seeing what all your friends are up to. It's also some more serious things.
It's like purchasing drugs online, making connections with the drug dealer online, also learning how to make drugs that aren't available. For instance, I hate saying this because somebody might try it, but it's toothpaste on orange peels, or where to find gypsum weed, and those kind of drugs are very dangerous because you don't know how they're going to affect you. But they get that information on social media, connecting with people out there that know different things, huffing in a bag and those kind of things. And they see their peers having fun with all this. They don't see the consequences of it.
Jean, as an expert in addiction, what is your best advice to parents out there? At what age should a child be exposed to social media?
Well, I don't think we have much choice. They get it right away, and in some ways I think it's very helpful. I think that children that have a phone or can access a phone are protected against somebody grabbing them or kidnapping them. But so it's probably an individual thing with the parent, but I think there needs to be some education about how to use it and how to talk about drugs with your child.
Let's talk about the actual physical euphoria that you get from interacting with your phone and all the wonderful things that you find on your phone. I mean, there is an actual physical craving, if you will, just like in addiction.
An addiction, absolutely, totally. It takes you away from reality and allows you to live in this fantasy land. And there's no problems there. There's no no insurance to deal with, no bills to deal with, so you can escape.
Another component of addiction is depression that often happens, and a lot of times young people and even older people, there's the envy that comes with looking online on the Instagram and seeing the fabulous life that everybody else appears to be leading, and the airbrushed photographs of perfection that maybe you don't have in your life. And there is evidence that too much social media can lead to depression, isn't there?
Right, absolutely. And yes, because if you compare what you see on social media and your own life, that can depress you. But also, young people look at celebrities online and see. And unfortunately, there's a lot of messages that come from celebrities about drug use and alcohol use that's positive. And so kids are so impressionable that these are their heroes, and these are the people that they're going to emulate. And I think that's the other danger. You can't control what your child is seeing on social media and on the cell phone.
While this problem is not a standard addiction, what are some of the things or resources that parents can turn to help their children?
Oh, there's, for instance, we have a lot of outpatient programs for adolescents. We have a detox for adolescents, and sometimes that's just used as a time out. You can give us a call, and we can direct you to somebody to talk to. I think parents need to educate themselves about what's going on in drugs, to the fact that they can talk to their child in an intelligent way and not in a hysterical way.
And it's not only drugs, it's also the addiction to pornography has proliferated in the United States, and that is well documented. And the reason is social media, and because it's so prevalent online. Is that something that you treat at your center as well?
Well, no, not really, not at this time, but we do address it, and we actually confiscate their phones while they're doing groups or doing treatment, and while they're there, and only allow them to have them at certain times. And I think that maybe parents ought to take a look at doing that.
You can never be too careful. Jean McAlister, right. It's great to have you here again. Thank you so much for sharing your advice and expertise with us this morning.
Thank you. You're a very good interviewer, and I like you.
Thank you. Coming up on San Diego People, we will